agree. They're definitely making steps in the right direction. But this is EA, okay? They'll find some way to fuck it up. They found a way to fuck it up.
Plants vs. Zombies Replanted is proof that a god does exist, and he's just really, really mad at me for stealing Jacob's grape-flavored juice box in 3rd grade. I actually care about this franchise. The Plants vs. Zombies franchise is my favorite of all time. The great strategic tower defenses of PvZ 1 and 2, as well as the immensely chaotic goatedness of the Garden Warfare titles. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 is my favorite piece of media. Not just out of any video game, but out of any movie, book, or anything else. I could play it for hours on end and never get bored. It is an infinitely replayable chaos fest filled with pure charm induced into it. BFN is a bad game. I will permanently stand by the fact that BFN was a bad idea and doesn't come close to the chaos and replay value of the original 2 shooters. But this game genuinely tried. This game has so much effort put into it. It has tons of new world building for the franchise, fun character dialogue, some genuinely creative ideas, and a few great new modes, as well as a chicken costume for Super Brain. Okay, maybe this game's peak. This game, while kinda shit and not very well thought out, had clear respect for the Plants vs. Zombies franchise and its fans. I wonder what this is all segueing into. Plants vs. Zombies Replanted. Good God. Do you remember that video I made back in August that I was actually fairly optimistic that this would be a decent remaster and be the definitive version of Plants vs. Zombies? Well, holy hell, throw all of that goodwill out of a 12-story building because the second October 16th hit, less than a week before the game released, literally everything fell apart. Getting caught using AI upscaling after specifically saying there was no AI used on Twitter, which promptly blew up in their face, an extremely unsecure PC launch that let people access the game early with basically no effort, which then allowed them to find a cavalcade of glitches that weren't even in the original game. And once all this piled up, it led me to asking myself, this is it? The first PvZ game in 6 years, and it's this? All the drama being built around this game made it not very fun to be a PvZ fan for the past few days. Hearing all the arguments of Lamau, dude, it's an early build of the game, gave me Vietnam flashbacks to the buildup of Sonic Frontiers. And that is not a compliment. I'm sure there's videos of this kind of shittiness in the Plants vs. Zombies community already, but I really don't care. It made my experience of living life worse, so I'm complaining about it. After all this time after playing Replanted, what do I think? This is the most embarrassing atrocity in the Plants vs. Zombies franchise. Sure, I would sooner play this over PvZ 3 and BFN, but not only does PvZ 3 not really count, this game is being hard carried by the fact that it is completely impossible to not have fun while playing Plants vs. Zombies 1. From a pure effort and care perspective, I think this is the worst thing to ever come out of the Plants vs. Zombies franchise, and I really hope you're excited to hear me bitch and whine about it. But first, let's start with the positives, because I'm a silly goose like that. The new music tracks are cool. They gave both the hardcore mode and Cloudy Day their own original soundtracks, being remixes of the regular PvZ soundtrack but tweaked to fit the vibes of their respective mode. Now, music as a broader topic is something we'll get to soon, but just alone, I like these remix soundtracks. They're undoubtedly the best part of this remaster, besides the game over sound effect in RIP mode. I don't know what the fuck they were doing there. That concludes the positives. Yep, a singular thing. Other than that, there is just the mere fact that I am playing Plants vs. Zombies, and it's a really good game. From a remaster perspective though, that's it. The visuals are nice on a surface level, and it seems like for the most part, these were done by humans. So for the most part, the visuals are a good thing, right? Well, there is the fact that there are multiple UI elements like the Bloom and Doom seed packets and Bejeweled elements that used AI upscaling instead of putting in any effort into making them look nice. Plus, I can't even say for sure if they were entirely done by humans because of the fucking twin sunflower that got leaked before launch. Does that look like a human-made upscaling or a $5 ChatGPT commission? Because I know what my bets are placed on. But whatever, how was the gameplay in new additions? Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not that sold on this either. Plants vs. Zombies is Plants vs. Zombies. Everybody knows that this game is goated. But when it comes to this remaster, yeah, they screwed up some things. Not only is it somehow buggier despite a bigger dev team and 16 years of computer evolution later, but they also screwed up a couple of quality of life things. For example, I was really excited to get this on Switch 2 because I'd be able to play it on the go while also being able to use a Switch 2's mouse mode to play it like how it does on mouse and keyboard, which is in my opinion the best way to play the game. Yeah, they screwed up big time when it comes to the mouse mode. Every time you lift your Joy-Con's mouse mode center off of the surface you're playing on, the game's brain fucking snaps and you get locked into button controls until you put the sensor back onto the surface. Not only does this look like a goddamn eyesore considering how much you're regularly gonna move your Joy-Con up to adjust because of how thin these things are, but that also could lead to misplays because the main action button is different between mouse and button controls. There is a way to trick the game into thinking you're always in mouse mode by just leaving the Joy-Con you aren't using on its side. But like, come on man, this is still bullshit. There's so many other things I want to do with my left Joy-Con. Like, okay, this is still stupid. But in all seriousness, if you want to do local co-op on Switch, the obvious option is to split the pair of Joy-Cons with a buddy, and in that case, you can't do the trick. And before anyone says just play online co-op, sorry fucker. No, they actually did offer some sort of substitute for online co-op, Switch 2 Game Share, which is way more difficult and unnecessarily Switch exclusive. Yeah, this doesn't really fix much. You still can't play versus mode with strangers because, again, this is Game Share, and Mommy told me not to share with strangers! So now we have this busted up Game Share system that lags constantly from what I've played, when you only really needed at the very least a join code system that the edutainment version of goddamn Minecraft uses. Not to mention that you could very easily make a version of the modes where you could play with randoms. It wouldn't be that hard, I assure you. However, when it's all said and done, these modes are still really fun, right? Well, yeah, they definitely are. Co-op is still as fun as ever. I wish there were a few more additions to it in this new version, but co-op is still solid. Double suns are a cute mechanic to get you to work together, and forcing you to split your setup into 2 builds is genius, but like, this is all stuff from the Xbox 360 version, so I'm not extremely impressed. The real star of the show for me was the super fun versus mode from the 360 version. Something that could honestly be its own game if expanded upon. Even just in this, you could add the other maps, more zombies to choose from, or even 1,000 glitches and bugs that never existed. Aw, Popcap, you always meet my demands. Versus mode was really screwed up in this game. In multiple ways too. While the mode on its own is still really fun, get a friend over and it's a ball. You really have to get some in-house rules among yourselves or else it kinda sucks. These zombies have an insane advantage. You could spawn a gargantuar in the first 20 seconds of the game. Most of the plant prices have been decreased to sort of balance this, but it really doesn't matter too much. If the plants made literally double the sun, this would be pretty fair and as fun as ever. But in its current state, it's royally screwed up. Not to mention just how buggy this game mode is. I don't get why they even bothered tweaking this mode when if they literally just directly ported it over from the 360 version, it would have been fine. Except now it would be in widescreen and on more comfortable hardware and oh my god, can this game do anything right? Well, maybe it can. We still have the brand new modes to look forward to. How is Replanted's brand new elements? Seriously, I'm writing this before even playing them. The bonus levels are genuinely terrible, dude. What the hell happened here? These are scrapped minigames from the original Plants vs. Zombies that have been brought back here with no effort into making them actually fun. Because these things were scrapped for a reason. They are all unnecessarily long and not fun at all. Art Challenge Walnut is just seeing stars from the base game. One of the weakest minigames in the entire package, by the way. Except at the very least with Starfruit, they recharge quickly so the minigame doesn't overstay its welcome. Walnuts recharge like old people shag! So this minigame can take up to 10 minutes. And there's literally nothing that separates this from regular Plants vs. Zombies gameplay besides the fact that Johnny's ghost is haunting you for its entirety. Sunny Day is so bad, dude. Holy shit. It is just a 4-flag long daytime front yard level, but the sun from the sky is big, and it gives you double sun. You know, the reason long PvZ levels are fun is because eventually you gotta start replacing your sunflowers with more firepower. But the obvious drawback is that you won't get nearly as much sun to plant that very firepower. But in this mode, because you get extra sun from the sky and not the flowers, you still get plentiful sun and makes for an extremely easy snore fest that goes on for, once again, 10 minutes. Unsodded. Holy hell, this one is boring. The whole gimmick is that you can't place plants on the top and bottom lanes, but zombies can still walk on it. Oh no, I don't know what to do. I am so worried by this precarious situation. So the obvious solution is to use the 3 plants in the game with nearly 60 that can damage other lanes. Unlike most puzzle-based minigames in this game where there are many different ways to tackle it, this one has one specific strategy that you basically need to do. And it's also really long. I guess you can eventually begin to replace your sunflowers for more firepower, but there is literally zero incentive to do so because the strongest zombie in this is a fucking buckethead. Big time. A very select few plants are made big and are buffed substantially. The game doesn't tell you which ones are given this treatment, so it's frustrating to try and get the full experience. And the zombies aren't given any buffs to compensate, so I'd be bored to tears. Art Challenge Sunflower. I didn't even bother playing this one. I know what it is. I know what it is gonna be, a boring piece of shit, so what's even the point in playing it? Air Raid. This one is fine. Setup at the beginning can be a bit tricky because the 2 counters for Balloon Zombie are pretty pricey for early game standards, and them hitting you by surprise with a ton of regular zombies on the huge waves is kind of funny. Other than that, this is a really lazy idea for a minigame, and I completely understand why this is cut. High Gravity. You know what? This one's pretty fun. I enjoy this one. As the name implies, gravity is increased dramatically and makes regular projectiles worthless. There's quite a few strategies. You can grab Coffee Bean and utilize mushroom plants. You can go heavy on Instagales. And the best part is, it's only 2 flags long. It's a pretty well-paced level that would fit in pretty well with the game's basic set of minigames and puzzles. Grave Danger is not a minigame. It is a regular-ass night level, but now you have access to plants from the final world in the game, with the only gimmick being that graves occasionally rise from the ground, which if you bring Gravedigger, which the average person will after reading that title, the gimmick is completely nullified. There's zero challenge and nothing that separates this from the average level. I could go back to level 2, 3 and get basically the exact same experience. It is embarrassing. Can you dig it? You have a lawn entirely filled with walnuts and are given a conveyor belt that gives you nothing but pea shooters. You dig up walnuts to place pea shooters. It's boring. Dark Stormy Night. The only thing I could think of while playing this was that I was glad that it was the final one. It is literally 4-10 but with a slightly altered conveyor belt. That's seriously it. Bonus levels are such an embarrassment, dude. A Last Resort added in the last month of development to make it seem like this game has more to it than it actually does. If you're getting the game because you're interested in trying out this never-before-seen content, don't. I wouldn't be surprised if these were actually just made up in the 6 months of development this game had. Bonus levels are atrocious. Do not play them. Other than that, what other bonus content do we have? Well, when you beat the main campaign, you unlock 2 new ones, Adventure Plus and RIP Adventure. Adventure Plus is a mode where Dave picks 3 of the plants for you, and hold the phone, dick! This was in the goddamn mobile version, and there's literally zero difference or new additions. This $20 remaster in 2025 has the same post content as a literal grandma phone game. Are we serious? And after that, we have RIP mode. It's just a permadeath mode where the only added challenge is that there is only 1 lawnmower. The amount of sun you get is the same, all of the plants are just as powerful, the game doesn't limit your choices to add difficulty, it is just replaying the adventure except when you die, you restart. It's not like in a game like Minecraft where dying in the regular game is a pretty common strategy for a quick reset to take you back home, especially with keep inventory on. Plants vs. Zombies is like an arcade game. Dying isn't really a mechanic, it's just a showing that you failed. Adding a permadeath doesn't really do anything, it's boring. The visual overhaul is neat, and once again the new music is cool, even if Grasswalk doesn't have a remix from what I've played. I played this through the nighttime stages, and I stopped playing because it wasn't all that interesting. Once again, another added element that just feels like they added it so they can say there's new stuff. A reoccurring problem with this supposed remaster. After that, the last new addition is Cloudy Day. It's probably the best addition to this game. It's also not very good. This feels like a mediocre PvZ2 world like Lost City. In Cloudy Day, sunflowers produce less sun as well as the sky, and once rough clouds roll in, you don't get sun at all, but everything is cheaper and recharges practically instantly. That sounds like a really fun challenge, and it sort of is. But after a while, the strategy becomes blatantly clear that you just run stalling plants like the nuts in Ice Pea. You know, it is kinda fun. Planting down an insane defense in a matter of seconds is pretty invigorating. But once it all settles, you realize that it's generally pretty repetitive and the game doesn't really incentivize you to run unique builds. The first half of my deck was pretty much the same throughout the entire campaign, and I was never really punished for doing that. It can be really slow paced a lot of the time because of how long these cloudy sections are, especially if you spend all your sun quickly, which is often the good strategy to be doing if you're running something like 3-peter or Starfruit, which can shoot into multiple lanes. So then you're kind of just sitting there like a wet sausage. Even with the fast forward feature, it could still be quite a pace break. You play through your front and backyard and even go up on the roof, and then that's kind of it. That's Cloudy Day, an exceptionally mediocre mode with terrible pacing and a repetitive gimmick with very few strategies that goes on for 12 levels somehow. And remember, this is the best new addition to Replanted. Can you see why this is such a big pile of shit now? All we have after that is an art gallery with fake concept art, because this game is allergic to the original crew behind Plants vs. Zombies. It is completely embarrassing how this game has treated them. Not even letting them know about this before the Nintendo Direct revealed it to the world. They didn't even ask any of them for help. All of this, by the way, is after the new lead of PvZ as a franchise said that he'd get the band back together. Yeah, great job doing that. Rejecting Rich Warner's help on PvZ 3 separate times, and ruining Laura Shigihara's wonderful original soundtrack by removing all of the dynamic audio. Yeah, you thought I forgot about that? I didn't. My favorite video game soundtrack of all time has been brought down to its knees and pummeled. The horde music on Moongrains, gone. The slow methodical build-up to an exciting finale, gone. Literally any effort into making the music good in spite of this, maybe to make it good in its own right, that wouldn't make sense because it's meant to be a definitive version, but you know, maybe— Nope! Fantastic job getting the band back together. This is just splendid. Plants vs. Zombies is my favorite franchise ever. The effect these games have had on me is boundless. I don't know where I'd be without Plants vs. Zombies, and this is it. A shitty remaster that's barely even the definitive way to play, despite being 4 times more expensive, with zero respect for the original team, multiple oversights in both bugs and quality of life, and literally no new additions that I can fully say are good. 2 shit new additions and 1 that's kind of okay. This game doesn't care even remotely about this franchise in the way I do. This franchise has been on its ass for 6 years. They've had all that time, and it's been spent making 50 PvZ3 versions that aren't even good, despite the most recent one, which is just okay. And the first PvZ game barely improved for $20 goddamn dollars. Great job, Popcap. This franchise will die on its ass because of you. So, employed people, you got work tomorrow, huh? Boy, that sucks.